Apparently they do. Only when they jump, yeah.
Thanks, boy.
There wasn't that kind of class, but hey, if you can learn anything.
Something.
All right, so Jude's going to start like this, right? That's the equivalent of the ball just in its normal pose, right? And he's going to, now I'm going to move these to the side so that they're not all on top of each other, but then Jude's going to be bent down. Actually, that was horrible. Let me erase that. I didn't think that through.
Oh my God.
No matter how I do it. All right, so he's going to be then bend down and get ready to jump, right? So he's going to anticipate the jump, right? So that's like your squash pose, right? And he's going to actually jump off of the edge of the whatever he's jumping off of, right? That's like your stretch pose. And then he's going to kind of level out in the middle. Right? And then he's going to stretch again as he comes down. Right? Something like that. This is the gap right here. Look at that perspective. So he jumps like that, then he's going to land. And then stand up again. Right? So that's basically your poses, right? So you're going to have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 poses. And these two are going to be kind of similar, or can be similar. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poses really to be done. It's pretty easy. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to block this out linear and step, similar to the way we worked through the midterm, right? Pose to pose, and then we're going to spline it out. It'll go really quick, so it's really easy to see exactly how it works. So, let me just go right here. I'm just going to get this started the same way I started every other project in here. Reference in Max or Maya. You don't have to use this rig, you can use a different rig. Bless you. Bless you. Turn off this picture. Set up my preferences. I want to do 30 frames per second. Change this to meter just because it works better with him. In my animation, I'm going to do weighted tangents and linear and stepped for now. This is going to help us block it out. So I'll start on frame 0, and I'll go to like, say we'll just start there. And then let me also bring in my script. Awesome. We do it this way. now we're ready to start. So let's give this dude something to jump over, shall we? Or jump across. Let's make it dangerous. Yeah. You fall, you are effed. Alright. We duplicate this. Put it here. There you go. That's not that far, but it's really high, so be careful. Alright. So here's our dude, right? You don't want to, the reason I like using this guy for this is he doesn't have that main control circle like a lot of rigs do. Like the Moon rig has that circle on the bottom, which is fine for placement, but you don't ever want to use that to actually make your character jump. The reason is because that will also move the IK handles, which defeats the whole purpose of using IK, right? So your feet are no longer locked down if you're moving the master control, the whole character is moving, right? So let me get this guy up here where he needs to go. I select just his feet and then that square around him there. Why did it make Alright, so let me do this. That's good, I think. He's gonna die. Alright. So I want to get a decent pose for this guy. So these are the poses we're doing, right? We're gonna have a stand there pose, right? Get like just standing, and then getting ready to jump. Right? This is where you build up the power to jump from, right? So you got to bend down and then jump. So let's look at some real examples of jumping. To the internet. All right. It's like 13 minutes long. That wasn't even close. What's cool about the animal with the tail is you can totally see the line of action better, right? Because of the tail. So you can see he's like building up for the jump, right? See how squished he is there, right? Compressed, ready to spring out. And then he's compressed there too. For different reasons. So there's like your stand pose, and then the anticipation pose. That cat sucks. He just gave up. He was not committed to finishing that. So you've got the anticipation, right? And there's your stretch pose, right? Cats are super fast. Oh, there's a squash pose right there. I can't even stop it when he's ready to jump. So that's like his, I'm getting ready to run. So he's all compressed, right? His back legs are ready to spring out. I don't know where he was going. Nowhere.
Squash, stretch.
Yeah, the ground didn't budge there. So you need that squash and stretch.
That all the way to the right, at the bottom. That looks good. That kid is dead.
Holding the camera, I think. Do it, Bobby!
Oh my god.
You got it, bro. It's not hard. It's just like a trampoline, but rounded.
Down there.
You can see that chair hit it in the face. So stupid.
Yeah. That's what we're waiting for.
He didn't commit. Ouch, tail up.
It's not that bad.
Kid jumps into the
You're gonna bounce on it perfectly, and then, oh,
This is, why would you do that?
this is like
The worst part is they're laughing at him. Like,
Yeah. So basically, you need those poses, right? So let's get a decent pose. Let me add my cliff of doom to a layer in here so I don't accidentally select it every second. Alright, cool. So let's get a decent pose for this guy. This, maybe, this. This is the happy little trees portion of the class. Happy little bees. Turn it down a bit. There we go. That's good, I think. Actually, let me repose this. So this is the equivalent of if you were working on a movie or game or something and people wanted to see your animation in progress. This is a great way to work because anybody can look at this and see exactly where you're at with the animation, what your timing is, and what you plan on doing with it. Which when you're working on a film or a game where your budget is a couple $1 million, they really want to know what you plan on doing so that they're not wasting money. Okay, let's say that's good. It's not, but we'll say it is. Alright. Key that. So then maybe on frame 20 I'm gonna have him do his pose where he's ready to jump. I wanna spread his feet apart a little bit. Give him a better base. Now, a lot of this is gonna be your shape, your springy shape, right? So you don't want to just do that. You want to also get his hips into it. See how it's breaking right here? See that? Yes, we see it. Thanks for showing us. No problem. All right, I'm going to rotate this back. See how it's gone now? There. Gone. There. See the difference? I rotated his shoulders down a little more too. Maybe get him back a little bit actually. I think I have his feet too far apart too. Let me get this weird. I just found out yesterday I'm going to get to go see Conan O'Brien film. So put in for tickets and it's like a lottery system. Finally got.
It's weird when you do it. My friend or my roommate got them. So weird when you finally like go to the show.
We went to a taping of Jimmy Kimmel and that was pretty wild. We actually went up to LA we went to go to this Nomon workshop thing, and we were in Hollywood. We were eating at the Mel's Drive-In thing, right? And we were outside the Jimmy Kimmel studio, and somebody said, "Hey, you want to watch the show tonight?" And we're like, "Okay." So we did that instead of going to Nomon. We took the day off work so we could go to Nomon, not to go see Jimmy Kimmel.
It's weird they do that too. Cause like after the Conan, they were like, "Oh, you want to go see Carlos Mencia?" We're like, "I don't know. It's free." So then we went, but like, yeah, it's weird how they like rope you. Just gotta fill the audience.
Yeah, we wanted to see. I went to a taping of Letterman one time in New York.
That's awesome.
All right, so this is going to be his. I'm getting ready to jump. So everything is. No, that's what it is. You have to be careful with this rig too. Pull this away. Oh, I'm jumping. It's real easy to get down that path with this rig. Let's say that's good. I'm gonna key that. And before I forget, I'm gonna save this too, in case Maya decides to die on me. Jump whip. All right. So there's first pose, second pose, right? He's gonna jump across this thing. It's gonna happen pretty quick. Let's say by 45 is gonna be on the other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this pose. I'm just going to grab his waist, or his main root control, and his feet, and move him forward. Right there. So let's say that's where I want him to be. We select everything and pose that. So he's going to jump that gap. So that pose is going to be the same roughly for now. Anyway. So we've only got two poses, but I duplicated that pose so everything lands, right? So now he's got a target. I know where he's headed, right? So I need to do my in-betweens here now. So I know that in here he's going to be about halfway across, right? I'm going to move him up so that he actually has leapt. If we did this with an Elvis rig, I could say Elvis has left the building. I'm sorry. I'm actually. Let me get the rotation out of this too. So let's have him lead with one of his feet a little bit. So this is going to be his in-between pose. Like he just jumped from the one side and he's going to the other side. Maybe this foot's going to come first. And I tend to rotate the legs or the feet quite a bit when I do a jump, just because it looks cooler when they're not perfectly symmetrical. I think, anyway. And I'm the one grading them, so that's what counts. This here to bend. So at this point, like he's going to be kind of neutral pose with his arms. I'm a chicken. I was up way too late. Can you tell? Let's say that's good, even though it's not. So let's look at our timing. Oh, let's set this to play real time. Real time, all right. Let's see, I think that timing's okay. So we need our stretch pose, right, on one side and the other. So here he's leaving this platform. So let me get this. I know where he's headed. He's coming up this way. Ooh. Let's get this one. Roll this ball a little bit. Actually, let's do that. So basically, you want a decent pose where he's leaving that platform and he's all stretched out. And you notice I'm doing the clavicles as well. It's this bit here, right? Yeah. Now I'm probably going to go back into these poses and strengthen them up a little bit. This is basically just for placement and timing right now. So let's say we like that. I'm going to key that. So basically you want the opposite pose here. So maybe here I'll actually get him down a little farther so that his jump is a little more powerful. And I can pull that. So you want that change in shape. See how I've got him squashed down there, and there he's stretched out, right? Now his feet haven't changed position. The heels are coming off the ground, but the toes are still pushing off. Because you want the feet to actually propel him off of that ledge, right? And then right before he lands, I need him to, I need a similar pose to this, but the other direction here. So what I'm going to do is select his feet here, and then just go back to like frame 40 maybe, key them, so that I know where they're going to hit. That was ridiculous. I'm going to move this forward, down, back, this, let's go. And I'm going to get his heels down first. So I'm going to just rotate his feet up a little bit like this. Maybe back them up just a little bit. And it's a stretch pose, so I'm going to get his arms up. I'm going to put his arms in the air, perhaps wave them, like you just don't care. What is wrong with you? Alright. Do one of these, get his wrists broken. He'll blush you if that's his needs. Back these up. I'm going to get his neck forward a little bit here too, so you can see where right, so I'm going to select all that. Ooh, that was not the right place to put it. So you can see we've got the basics of it there already, right? Yes, we can see that. Awesome. All right, so my last pose, or my first pose here, I want that to be my last pose as well. So like maybe on frame 50. I'll key that. However, it's back here still, so I have to move him up. To move him up to where he needs to be. So I'm going to select his feet and his main controller. Move those up. That's too far forward. Back a little bit. So that's basically it. Then we just gotta spline it. Actually, I don't really like the timing on the jump. I'm gonna adjust that. So he really needs to jump faster than that. So this bit in the middle needs to speed up. So that's a little better. The timing's a little better on that, right? So with everything posed like that, everything keyed all in the same frame, it's real easy to slide around your timing and stuff. So if the director comes by and says he needs to jump faster because he's getting chased by bad guys, or he needs to jump slower because he's carrying something, or he needs to jump differently or something, there's only a few poses in here. It's real easy for me to change any of these at any point if I need to. Right? So maybe I posed this, but I forgot that the guy in the scene before this, maybe he gets shot in the leg or something. And I need to change my pose, right? It's really easy for me to go in and just alter that one pose without doing a ton of work. So I didn't spend that long on this, right? So this is a really, really good way to block out your animation in such a way that you can crank out animations really, really fast, right? So everybody can see when they look at this exactly what's happening, what the timing is, what the poses are going to be. You could stop this on any frame and render it, and it's going to look like it will in the final, roughly, right? That pose. So it's really good for like marketing purposes. Like let's say they need to make a poster. If they're doing a Jump Guide, the movie, and they need a sweet picture for their poster, right? You can pause this anywhere and render it, and it'll work.
Is it still on linear and step, or did you
It is. It is still linear and step. I didn't spline anything yet. So that's just my poses, my main poses. I haven't done any like breakdown stuff yet. I haven't offset any timing or anything yet. It's just the rough timing. It's the new Spider-Man movie. If you're scared of heights, you can do one of these instead. Scarier. Alright, anyways. Any questions about what we did so far? Okay. Now you just finish it, right? The hard part's done. You got all the timing worked out, you got all your poses worked out. Now it's just the mechanical part of timing it out, or splining it. So I'm going to go into my preferences. animation, go spline and spline tangents. Now I could just select everything and go into my graph editor and do that to it, and this is what I get. Which actually isn't too bad. It's real swimmy, which means that it's kind of, everything's moving at the same rate, which I don't want. I gotta go in and put some in-between keys and stuff too. So let's say I like the way this is working so far. I'm gonna go in and start to adjust my timing here. So I want this, I want them to bend down. I want them to start bending down later. I'm just gonna slide that out. And here's the other thing too, is let's talk about moving holds a little bit. So everybody stand up for a second, right? And try to hold still and not move at all. Right? You can't really do it. Because you've got all kinds of stuff happening, right? Gravity's pulling down your body. It's Saturday morning at like 9:30. Everybody's a little tired, right? So you're a little bit wobbly. You're breathing, right? You can't hold perfectly still unless you're dead. Just the reality of it. All right, you can sit down. So we don't want these hips to just lock like that. So see that mover that I have selected? It's just like locked in space. I don't want that. I want it to kind of stay there until I want it to move, but I don't want it to stay perfectly still. So what I can do is just go to a frame previous and move it just a little bit and set a key. So now that'll give me just a little bit of a drift on it, a moving hold, that will keep that character alive rather than locked and dead, right? A really good example of how this works or can work in your favor is in Toy Story, when the toys, like when Andy comes back into the room, right? And they have to turn back into real toys, they just stop moving. And it's really obvious when they turn into a toy because, you know, they're super lively before that, and then they get this blank expression on their face and they're just locked in position. It works for a toy that's turning back into a toy, but for the most part, you don't want that.
What did you do? You set a key there. You just rotated it? Or?
Yeah, I just moved it a little bit.
Okay.
So then in here, right, this is going to be the equivalent of our bouncing ball. Right? So what I want to do is I want to make our graph look like bouncing ball did, right? So we've got a really fast in and out for when it leaves the ground, but we want it to kind of hug that mid frame. So what I'm going to do is go up into my mid pose here and look at my graph on this, especially the Y translator. Let's look at that. Okay, that's kind of beastly and ugly. So what I want to do is, I don't need these keys in here. I've got that key, I've got these keys where it's on the ground. So these in the middle, I don't really need, so I'm going to get rid of those. I know I want it to hug the top of this, so I can go ahead and add some weight to this. So I'm going to unlock the weight, select this, and pull it out, right? So it kind of hugs the top of that arc. And then on the bottom here, I know I want it to kind of come in and out of that fast, so I'm going to make those tangents linear. And then I'm going to break the tangents so that I can move them and the other side doesn't move. The reason I broke them is because if you don't break them and I move this, see what happens to the other side? You don't want that. So break them and then you can move it however you want. And I'll probably move this back a frame. So let's see what that looks like. He comes up and out of that really fast at the end. So I'm going to probably take. Now I'm just working with his main controller here. I haven't done anything with the other part of the body yet. I want him to kind of take a while to come out of that pose. So I'm going to take this key right here and move it back down here. So he comes up slower. And then I'm also going to go into the graph here. And on these keys. So this is, you know, he's hit here, right? And then he's going to come out of that pose. What I want to do is I'm going to break the tangents there as well, and then take this side and flatten it out. And then I'm going to add some weight to this as well. So that he favors that pose a little bit more. And here's the other thing too. You see it. See how it locks in place right there? You're gonna put a moving hold on the end too. So this key and this key are the same. I'm gonna take this a little bit and just maybe move it forward, back a little bit. So that'll make the difference between animation that's really good and animation that's just meh. You know, that little bit of like a moving hold or like an overshoot and settle back, right? So imagine you're running down the hallway, right? And all of a sudden you stop, right? You're gonna overshoot a little bit and come back to your pose, right? It's like in a car. You're in a car and the light turns red before you realize it. You quick hit the brakes, right? What happens to your body? You overshoot where you were and you settle back into your seat, right? You feel it every time you hit the brakes in your car, right? You want to keep moving forward and then you come back to your rest pose. That's the faster you're going, the more that's gonna happen to you. So in something like this where you're jumping, you're moving really fast, and then you stop, you're gonna overshoot and come back to your main pose. So probably even this pose here, I could probably move it forward a little bit. All right, so that's the main body. Let's get the feet doing what they need to do. So here, you want to get your feet locked down, but you don't want them to stretch out a ridiculous amount like they are right there. So some of this happened because we started to change the body. So what I want to do is get this to a point where it works. I'm going to have to start to change some of my keys on my feet. So you don't want it to be stretched past the IK like that, right? So maybe here I can roll the ball enough. No. So 22 is the last pose where I can keep that leg straight like that. So I don't need 24 anymore. Right? But I still want this leg to be kind of straight, because right now he's not even using it to jump. It's bent the whole time. So what I can do on a frame like 23, I'll duplicate that key back there, but then raise this up, get rid of this ball roll, point it down kind of where it came from, and move it up until it basically you want the feet to drive the jump. And then you want to get them down before the rest of the body does. So here, like, I have the heels hitting first. The legs are stretched out too much too. I'm going to fix that in a second. But like right here, you want them down already. And I'll probably keep that pose on them too. And let it slowly reposition as it stands up. Fix his knees too. And you know what? Here, the translate Z, he's not forward enough. I gotta fix that too. Let's make that linear. Let's get this forward now too. here, this isn't going to work. I need to get this better. Here, this is still. So sometimes you need to kind of cheat, look at it from a different angle. So I want this foot to stay locked down, this foot here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a marker here where there's toes on the ground so that I have a thing to point back at for that pose. So on frame 23, right, there's no rulers in my, but I can break off a menu and place it. Actually, that's a bad spot. Find a shorter menu. So basically just placing this as a visual reference of where that toe is on the ground. Basically want to line the toe up with where it was. If you can. This is not working. Now that we fixed the Z forwards. Here's the other thing too, is that these feet are sliding all over the place, so let's fix that while I'm thinking about it. So what I want him to do here is take a step and then take another step. So he's gonna kind of, from a stand pose, he's gonna do one of these where he steps in place, but he's gonna move this foot over, this foot over, this foot, right? So I need, almost like when we did our 180-degree turn, right? I want him to shift his body weight so that he can get down into his jump pose. So what I'm going to do is give him like maybe 4 frames of nothing there. Copy that pose over to frame 4 for this foot. And then by frame 12, I'll have that foot be in position. So I'm going to copy this pose over to here. And then fix the graph here. So what I did basically was to move that foot in position. So now that means that this foot needs to stay where it was until frame 12. And then it can move into its new position. So boom, boom. Let's give that foot a bit of time to get there. So that's his shuffle in position before he jumps, right? So instead of his feet just drifting, he's going to actually step in position. So what we can do is get his feet, then we're going to do like the foot is actually moving kind of thing here. So let's get this up a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just enough to show that he's lifting his foot. Let's get this foot in. So just that little bit of step. And you may even put a little bit of ball roll in, maybe that'll help too. but you can't just do that. You gotta also get him over the foot that's bearing the weight, right? So when both feet are on the ground, I know he's gonna be in that. He's gonna be centered, so I can just key that. So when this foot's moving, he needs to be over this foot. And then when this foot's moving, he needs to be over the other foot, so I'm just going to slide like this. So just that little bit of step makes it look a lot more natural, right? He's not just sliding into position, he's actually stepping. Right, so ignore the other side. For now, that's what we got. So he boom, boom, steps and jumps.
Would you do the shoulders as well? Like rotate the shoulders
Yeah.
and hips?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be as severe on this one because it's very quick steps. So, but yeah, if you want it to look good. So let's key that. Key that. That goes like this. So here he's going to move opposite of what the shoulders are, what the hips are doing. And then we can start to work on some overlapping action too. So like as he's coming down, maybe I don't want his shoulders to rotate down yet. And then here when he lands, let's offset his shoulders a little bit, his upper torso. So I want all this to happen like maybe 1 frame later. And this can all happen later too. I haven't done anything with his arms yet. I'm just looking at his torso and stuff. Let's do the feet on the other side too while we're fixing stuff that's stupid looking. So I want him to hold that until he needs to. He's got to step. That means this foot's going to stay where it was until. And then we do the same thing here with this body where we needed to kind of shift over to the foot that's bearing the weight. So look right there. Go this way. And here it's going to go over this way. And then let's put a moving hold on this here, so 75 maybe it's. And then let's save that just in case. That's going to lift from this side. Alright, I think that's pretty good for the lower body. Let's get the, especially the arm, let's get that doing what they need to do. The other thing I want to do is get some nice overlapping action on this body, the upper body. I'm going to start to go in and adjust my frames here. So right here, I want this to kind of lag back. I'm going to kind of overdo it. Get rid of these keys in here too. Here I want his head to kind of snap down. Basically, I want his head to be the last thing that comes down here. You see that little bit of overlap, right? How it comes back into position, right? That's way more appealing than if it just hit and came back up solid, right? Get that little bit of overshoot, settle back with the head. I haven't done the arms yet, but for the most part, the body's there. Just like turn off the speed mesh. Dummy mesh. So I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, that's pretty basic, but you get the idea, right? So the arms are basically going to, the arms are a little tricky because for some of this, they're going to drive the action, and for some of it, they're just going to overlap, right? So when you're starting to jump, you know, you get your arms swinging, that helps you get your weight going the direction it needs to go, right? So when you throw, ow! you throw your arms out like this, right? It's gonna get your body going in that position, to that direction, right? Because you get your weight going that way, right?